they're going to start writing blogs. They're going to start speaking at events. They are going to go on podcasts. They're going to do all sorts of thought leadership. Maybe they'll create a white paper. Maybe they will do a whole bunch of other stuff that cool things we do in marketing, but they will become the owner of that vertical, and be obsessed by it. And it's a great formula to actually go drive a ton of value back to your customer.
Welcome back to another installment of the Next Gen Case Study Series. On today's episode, I have with me Sheetal Jaitly, who is the founder and CEO of Tribal Scale, a leading digital innovation firm based in Toronto. With over 2 decades of experience in the tech industry, Sheetal has a track record of driving large-scale digital transformation initiatives. He is known for his hands-on leadership in navigating companies through rapid growth and complex restructuring, and for his commitment to leveraging emerging technologies to build world-class digital products, which is why we're excited to have him on the show. Sheetal, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, the pleasure's all mine. I'm really excited to get into some of the work that you're doing here with Tribal Scale. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, though, let's start with maybe a couple of minutes on who you are, where you came from, and how you found yourself founding Tribal Scale.
Yeah, kind of going back to the late '90s. I kind of graduated high school a little early, and had some time before I was going to go start university. And I grew up in a suburb that had a lot of tech companies around there. And so back in the old days, I just went door knocking and like started dropping off my resume to a bunch of places to go just find some kind of work experience. I worked a bunch of jobs before that, but I ended up landing at a tech company, and got to ride that wave of the first tech boom, and then the first, early 2000s tech bust, as well. But it kind of stuck with me all the way through my career, where I was always involved in tech, and more so later in the 2010s, really get custom software development, and what that actually means, and how to work in an agile way, and how to actually help your clients go build products, from the ground up, and doing it in a collaborative way that actually where you actually do it together. And so I'm very fortunate enough to work with, some amazing customers, earn my chops really in mobile development, and working with a company called Extreme Labs, where we built a lot of the apps that sit on the first or second screen of your device, literally. Um, you know, and as we went through that process, I really fell in love with finding different ways to really go and build software with our customers, um, and bringing that, how to bring bespoke solutions together. And when Extreme got acquired, I felt there's a big gap in the market, and that's what led me to go and say, "Hey, let's go build Tribal Scale, and help a lot of our customers, or help the market actually go build five-star digital products, and what that means, and how to do that with a SEAL Team Six mentality. You don't need an army of 100 engineers to go do this. Take on this initiative. You need the right skill sets and the right people and the right process and the right tools, and you can go build anything." And so we started off Tribal Scale. It's been great. We've been helping not only building for our customers, but we also help transform our clients to work the way we do, and so they can have their own SEAL Team Six mentality, within their own organization. Well, that's what brings us to today.
Wow, I love how deep this actually goes in terms of it just being a part of who you were the whole through your whole experience of kind of finding your way. Uh, Being that you are the founder, it's always interesting talking to somebody who's taken something from the ground up and turned it into a really positive, powerful, functioning business. Uh, as you were kind of shaping Tribal Scale, initially, who were you aiming at to help with digital innovation?
Yeah. So the good thing is, I was part of Extreme, which got acquired by Pivotal. I've already had a real great Rolodex of business.
Mm,
But going off on your own, and then starting with a couple other people are the right people and the right team, but to go and start earning that trust again, was literally reinventing yourself and having to go there. And I think that put a lot of personal brand equity in, where I always did right by every client I had. One thing I always say in business development is I would never get someone to sign a deal if I wasn't in their shoes on the other side of the table signing it myself. And so because I had on a great network where I've done that and I've been there and done that, trust went a long way. But you always start small, right? So like our first
Mhm.
couple deals were smaller. Uh, we go and we earn trust and we show them what we're able to do and what we're made of. And once you start doing that, that starts a spinball. And we just been, you know, leveraging that over and over again and making that repeatable across many clients. But it's always your first one's the hardest one, and once you get that one, you start building off that momentum.
Right. The book of business that you develop in your relationships kind of early on, really going above and beyond, giving those people an experience that they're going to remember and remember you
Mm-hmm.
for. That helps really build that reputation. And then you go on to serve them on your own with your own team at a higher capacity,
Mm-hmm.
to continue that trend of proving that you are who you say you are and you can deliver at that level. And then at some point, I imagine your network becomes exhausted in terms of just the number of people that you've been able to talk to and turn into clients. And
Sure.
so we got to turn our efforts elsewhere. What does that look like? And when did that transition happen for Tribal Scale?
Um, Pretty early on, I think even early on, people in your own network even start to think, wait a second, am I going to take a shot at you guys? When you're a part of another entity, and that almost becomes your identity when you first get when you know as you since you worked there for so long, and so there is even it's almost a little bit more difficult than to go to your own network and start selling, even though they know you because they kind of like want to be assured, hey, are you going to be able to do this on your own? Going
Yeah.
from going from business development to CEO is a very different transition. Um, However, I don't think you ever stop building on your network. I don't think you ever stop cold calling and expanding your network. I
Mhm.
joke around. I always go, if you are a business development person, you gotta have the attitude like Biggie. You kick in the door within the 4-4. But you got what's going to be in your 4-4 is thought leadership. It's going to be knowledge. It's going to be why, if Devin, if I'm talking to you, what value am I going to bring to you? It's not about me coming there and asking for your business. It's me saying, hey, Devin, let's at least have a 30-minute conversation. We could talk about digital transformation and AI that's going on in the world right now. I guarantee you at the end of 30 minutes with you, you're going to learn three things from me and I'm going to learn some stuff from you. It's going to be a collaborative experience. And the more and more you do that, and you lead with thought leadership and you lead with a strong opinion, and it's okay to have a difference of opinion. And we could like have a healthy debate about it, but it's going to be better for both of us. And I think that's when you really start to get the right kind of potential customer for tribal skills, someone who is willing to engage and have that two-way conversation and challenge us on what we're saying, and we challenge them and call with them to actually go and build five-star digital products. That's what I know we're about to get into a pretty long-term partnership with each other.
Right. So what I'm hearing is there's a concerted effort that I don't think ever ends in your pursuit of meeting new people, networking, making connections, shaking hands, maybe going to events and things like that. Um, how do you approach that in a way that does lend to a systematic growth of the business? Because this is one thing, if anybody, in the space of building business is charged with anything, it's to create something that is a predictable system of business development.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
as you alluded to, it's a very human process. Like it's a very human interaction to go and like reach out to somebody, sit down with them for a half an hour, and genuinely try to deliver some value in pursuit of helping them. Money comes second. It's not even something that's on the table because it's
Mm-hmm.
just
Not
assumed
even
that,
on the table. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So how do you systemize that in a way that still remains human and still has that integrity that I get a sense that you want to lead with?
Well, I think the first thing is having conviction in your thought leadership, and whether it be a blog or you're speaking at an event, almost being an evangelist for the particular practice you have at tribal scale or the particular expertise you're driving at tribal scale is super important. And the more you go and evangelize, you're going to start to get people coming around you, and that is almost a pipeline. I hate saying it that way because it shouldn't be looked as that way.
Mm.
Um, but the more you go and evangelize, hey, the way we run agile digital transformations, the way we leverage AI and extreme programming to get things done, the more and more we do that, we bring more people into our tribe, and they and from there, it becomes a lot easier to actually go and have pipeline. Let's talk about like revenue pipeline related activities. If Devin, you and I have had a conversation, I've gone to learn about a couple of things that are on your radar and that are super important to you. You know what? I may have a couple people in my Rolodex that maybe I need to connect you with. It's just that, or there's certain things that I could do for you that aren't necessarily revenue generating, but I'm going to do that to help you out. You know what? You get to know and work with me, and you're going to understand what Tribal Skill does. That you will share we're coming, the last quarter of 2024 here. You probably will share with me your 2025 plan and be like, hey, Tribal Skill, where are you going to be able to help? And that becomes a predictable model because once you earn that trust, that's the hardest part. Once you earn that trust with the people you are speaking with and that credibility, they will open up and share with you because they know that you are going to be an asset to them. And again, then it's right then it's actually going out and doing what you can to help the other person on the other side of the table, and they're going to be willing to do a deal with you. They're going to want to interact with you and want more from you because you actually are doing what's best, which is what's 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 best for them at that moment, not what's best for you. So, you know, there are times, my sales team probably doesn't like this when I sometimes tell customers, you aren't ready for us. And here are the couple of things I want you to do, and you could have a business development person be like, dude, you're ruining my quarter. Like, why did you say that? But let's always do what's right. Let's always do what's right for that organization and the business will come. And that's why it's important to always be evangelizing. And if you do it right, your top of the funnel is going to be pretty full. You will be able to pick and choose the engagements you want to work on and the ones that are going to be best suited for you to shine. Um, and that are the right fit for both parties as you go down the pipeline. That's the ideal scenario, right? We don't have an infinite amount of field team six sharp, engineers, product managers, QA designers. So let's make sure where we're going to go put our effort, we're able to pick and choose the right battles that we can go and provide the maximum value to our customers. And that is a good position to be in. But yeah, it takes a lot of evangelizing. It takes um, a lot of people in your again, I'm going to use a certain pipeline who have trust and you are able to share with you what their future looks, what they would like to see in their future, and how you're going to be helpful.
Right. I, as you were speaking, you kind of reminded me of guys like Gary Vaynerchuk or Alex Hormozy who talk about give your best stuff away for free. And
Mhm.
when you do that, you not only provide value for the people that aren't yet ready for you, and who, when they are ready for you, are more inclined to work with you, but you're also
Mhm.
showing the bigger players in the game what you're up to, and there's proof in what you say. So it makes, again, those new people a little bit more inclined. Is that kind of like what does that resonate with you? Is that kind of like what you're
It
pointing at?
totally resonates with me. It totally, you'd be surprised how many times I have someone who I almost consider a good friend who I've been like, chatting with. It could be a year, Devin, where like you and I are going through the motions and we're exchanging and collaborating with each other. Um, Come to me and say, Sheetal, I got something for you. Here's what we should go do together. And when we start going through the process, I think, this is probably not right. And I'm almost like shutting you down. Like, hey, this is not going to be a good engagement because you need to do these three things before we start to work together. And like, I need you to come into, if we're going to do it, this is the kind of system we're going to work in. And, working with us is very different. And the results prove itself, but you're going to have to internally change some things for that to happen. And I'm saying, well, you're nuts. Like, no, we want to do it this way. And I say, no, well, then we're not, this is not the right project. We'll figure out something else later. And they kind of get turned away. And that's okay because what we want to do is set every engagement up for a ton of success. If I'm going to be SEAL Team 6, I need to go and make sure we go deliver on that mission the right way. And we got a formula that knows what works, and we customize it for our clients' processes. Um, but I got to have the right buy-in. And if you're not all the way there yet, that's okay. We can still keep talking. But when you're ready, you'll give me a shot. And that's kind of like the way we structured ourselves here, because again, you don't have infinite resources, and you want to go and have extreme focus on what you do, and focus on that and do it really well. And so that's when our clients come to us, because they know we have that discipline.
Mm. So when it comes to kind of measuring these efforts, and I get that it's kind of uh, a little insensitive maybe or dehumanizing to say that, hey, like I am intentionally building a pipeline because the more people I know, the more opportunities exist inside of that network for us to collaborate and earn money together.
Mhm.
Um, that being said, we still have to do it. We still have to generate the leads. We still have to reach out to people. We still have to get in contact with them. And so when you kind of are setting these systems up in your own business and in your life, what is it that you look for to determine whether or not you're going in the right direction? What sorts of metrics help you determine your own success as you go through that?
Uh, there's a there's a really quick back of the napkin way to do this. So we don't hire salespeople. What we do is we hire people who are fire hungry, and we start turning them into industry experts. And so if you are in the financial services vertical, my team will go do the research and understand that, hey, I better be able to have a conversation with the head of technology at a financial services institution, understand what they're talking about, know what their pain points are, know what solutions are out there, and what is Bible Skills Advantage to help go solve them. Before we even go call on you, before we even do anything, again, it comes to that first meeting. That first meeting should only be half an hour, but that first meeting shouldn't be somewhere where we go and try to ask for business right away. That first meeting should be an opportunity for us to get to know each other and be collaborative and learn from each other. So
Mm.
that is the bar that's set. And so our teams are structured in a way, whether it be travel and hospitality, whether it be media, whether it be manufacturing, they are structured in a way that they're obsessed with the problems of that vertical and how we go solve them. And from there, they pump out their thought leadership. They go and have conversations with the CIOs, CTOs, or chief digital officers in these companies to be collaborative. Show the tribal skill research report, show the last 5 case studies we did in that vertical to them, and say, hey, this is what we've been doing, this is what we've been seeing, here's how we overcame them. How are you currently doing it? Oh, I saw that problem. Here's how we solved it. Again, give it like you just said, give all the advice away for free. Let them know exactly what we would do and how we do it. But they will come to you because when they want the expert in that room, and you've shown that credibility of being the expert on, again, being super sharp focused on how to solve their problems, are going to come in.
You know, it's surprising how often in that kind of intangible space of hey, there's actually no way to measure whether or not one of your salespeople is an expert in a field, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very intangible, but we know by taking the action of making that person an expert in that field, it results in a much higher absorption rate of, or a rate of contact or outreach or all these other things. Like here's a perfect example of this. One of my earliest clients, she
Mm-hmm.
was a owner of a distillery that distilled modern moonshine. And
Okay.
so knowing nothing about moonshine at all, I went
Uh-huh.
and watched dozens of how to, make and create and flavor and all this kind of thing about that product, about that thing
Mm-hmm.
that she was creating. And then when I did end up going and having a sit down with her to be able to talk to her at her level about all the things that she was up to, we immediately had some level of synergy, and it was in a
Of
genuine
course.
curiosity because I didn't want to get into this industry not knowing anything about it. So I'm now digging into that. So is like that one of the things that you kind of look for in people is that natural curiosity?
Absolutely. I think natural curiosity is paramount to anybody in any business development. I think
Hmm.
you have to fall in love with the problem. like obsess over it, like over the problem and naturally. So I don't tell people which vertical to go in. I say, like which one are you going to obsess about? Like, where is your, because that's really where you're going to get the passion to actually care and, you know, give a what? Give a blank. And you have to really give a blank to, to obsess over the problem. But what we do, I can be a little prescriptive. What we do is our team will not only identify the problems of a particular vertical, they will work with the larger organization. So our product managers, engineers, QA, designers, everybody on what solutions they think are the right. So what would be the right solution in these areas? They will also then, because they've done that, then they'll come and not only present back to the leadership team of here is where I'm going after business in this particular vertical, because these are the problems they are currently facing. Here is how we fit in to go solve them. They will actually go and do that to the entire company because it's not only a thing that because we're in services, um, you can't just have them go do that. They got to go and present that to the entire company. And so our
Mm.
engineers go, I want to work with that in that vertical because I love those problems. And I got solutions for them. And so we get buy-in completely. That also translates into marketing then. They're going to start writing blogs. They're going to start speaking at events. They are going to go on podcasts. They're going to do all sorts of thought leadership. Maybe they'll create a white paper. Maybe they will do a whole bunch of other stuff that cool things we do in marketing, but they will become the owner of that vertical and be obsessed by it. And it's a great formula to actually go drive a ton of value back to your customers.
Yeah, this has been incredible. That is such a useful insight for anybody in any business who is looking for uh, a way to actually get their salespeople be optimized for output without actually like making it that the icky sales feeling of like, hey, I'm here to follow a
Absolutely.
script and read to you about the thing, right? Like that's
Well,
so
we
much
can't.
of it is.
Everybody gets bombarded with 800 who knows what you're saying to me emails a day.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather our team actually go out and be send 10 that are super highly focused and speak to the person. It's like, Devin, I'm talking to you right now, and here is why it's important to you. And here's information like I'm going to give up, like I said, give away the farm right away. You're like, let's chat. This is going to be very collaborative and mutually beneficial, and jump right in, like, and jump into that. And I think, white papers and writing articles or even contributing to not only internal assets, but externally on like industry helping write an industry white paper with industry organizations and stuff like that, speaking at their conferences about what you're finding out there in the market is is amazing, and it does a lot. I'll tell you another thing that really changed my thinking when it comes to business development. I used to run the media, sports, entertainment vertical at Extreme, and I remember I was in a very large media company's office. I won't say who, and what they said to me was, "Sheetal, I used to do a quarterly, a bi a biannual report on the state of media," and they were like, "Hey, can you come back in 6 months and do this again?" And I'm like, "But you guys are report. There was nothing that you guys don't already know. You're ahead of everybody in media right now on everything I said." And the chief digital officer looked me in the eye and goes, "Yeah, but Sheetal, I'm not afraid of the innovative team we got here. I know we're good. And it's not even that I'm afraid. It's you have the opportunity to be in 30 different boardrooms and see what's going on. I
Mm.
don't." And right then and there, I was like, oh my God, I'm more valuable in my role. And I know more about what he's absolutely right. I know more about what's going on in this media tech landscape than mostly everyone. That is my superpower right now. Let me leverage it to roll up data to actually give it to the industry on where I see things are going.
Mm.
And that's why my opinion matters is because I'm in the boardrooms.
Right. This is it reminds me of an old saying, and a very close friend of mine, is actually how we met. He helped me add the rest of the saying. The jack of all trades is a master of none.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's more to it. it goes a jack of all trades, master of none, oftentimes better than a master of one. And
Yes.
it's really interesting that you have kind of uncovered that for yourself. It's like, okay, well, I'm not this guy doing that thing. However, I'm talking to 30 of those guys doing those things, and from this vantage point, there is useful information that can be used
Mhm.
somewhere else.
I've
And
yeah, I'll see, I'll see I'll see things like I've seen that tried and fail, and I
mm.
know why, and they've actually told me why. And and I actually, so if you're going down a particular thesis and you don't have your homework, a lot of times I become like the central conduit for these CIOs and chief CTOs to
Right.
call me and just, hey, they call me now and be like, can we just go for coffee? I want to just talk to you about a couple of initiatives I got going. What are you seeing out there? What am I not, where are my blind spots? Do I got any blind spots here? What am I not thinking about? But it takes time to earn that trust, and you'll get there as you start falling in love with the problem and go and find more and more solutions to it. And I've done things like I've created reports with my clients or even prospects of people in my network in particular verticals saying, hey, what do you feel like you can share? Where did you F up? Let's go put that in a report. Like, what should other people be thinking about? And let's comprise a report together and send it to the whole industry, and be part of it. We can anonymize a lot of the data and do that. And when you start doing stuff like that, people come to you all the time because they're like, you are actually in the trenches working on these problems. I'm about to go in the trench. I want to know what should I expect.
Right. Yeah, and that insight is always invaluable because it's such a unique curation of information from so many different vantage points. This has been great, Sheetal. We're kind of coming to a close with our time together here. So to kind of wrap things up, what are you aiming at? What are the big goals? What are you excited about on the horizon here? What is to what end, I guess, is the proverbial question. Where are you headed?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I think I am super excited about AI. I know that everybody is saying that right now, but I see AI two ways. One is we've completely reinvented the way we do things at Tribal Skills, so leveraging AI tools to build software in different ways and do that. But it's also very exciting to be for me to work with my clients and put on the product hat of being like, if you were going to build your software solution today from scratch, how would you build it differently with AI in mind? And and what does that user experience look like? And I think that whole product mindset of the way we interact with software today is getting flipped upside down. And that is a great opportunity to really go and look at, hey, as consumer behaviors are driven more by this AI wave, how is your product going to change? And one I always talk about, I'll give you really quick the analogy everybody seems to get is QuickBooks. I got to go to my CFO, say, can you pull me off reports? I go look at the reports. My CFO is pretty good. So my CFO will come to me and be like, hey, you got to look at these charts. This is what it means. Well, shouldn't AI, like if all the data is in there, the way QuickBooks works is probably an old, antiquated way. We're going to look back and go, why did we ever do it this way? Um, the consumer product experience should be that, hey, here's three charts. Here's what it means. Here's what's important to you. What are you going to do as a CEO? I
Yeah.
think that's where we're going. It's great to see not only us reinvent ourselves of how CLT6 operates to build software, but how are we going to build the right products to stay, maintain ourselves being five-star digital product builders in the world of AI? So those two things are super exciting for me. I can't wait to keep, you know, falling in love with this problem even more and more and more every day.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. I love that that idea of falling in love with the problem. It's becoming obsessed and looking for all the possible iterations of ways that that can be solved, and then what that means for the innovation of technologies and the way that we're all kind of interacting with it all is really exciting to see that change. Um, you've been very generous with your time and your wisdom, Sheetal, and for that I'm very grateful. If you had any advice for anybody who's kind of out there up to it, trying to explore some of these spaces, what would that advice be?
Don't be afraid. Go fail a lot. It's okay. Don't be afraid of criticism. Who cares what anybody else says? Go and fail a lot and learn really, and keep experimenting and learning from them. I think it's the best way to learn is by falling on your face and then getting back up. And so don't be afraid to take that next step. If you're gonna move a mountain, how would you move a mountain? You're gonna move it one rock at a time. And that's the way you gotta look at things and just go at it. Just go attack the problem. Don't be afraid of it.
Very powerful. If somebody wanted to reach out to you to pick your brain further or perhaps work with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
I'm very active on Twitter. At Sheetal Jaitly is easy way to get to me. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, or just go to tribalskill.com. We got a form there, and also there's a million ways to contact me. Just Google me and you'll find me, and I'll get back to you.
Beautiful. We'll make sure to link to the at least the LinkedIn in the show notes. So if people are listening or watching and want to get in touch with you, that's going to be the fastest way to do it. On that note, if you want to get in touch with me and my team for any of your marketing or AI needs, you can visit nextgengrowth.com. Otherwise, that's it for this episode. Thanks for joining us for this incredible conversation, and I will see you in the next.